I hope you guys are having an amazing weekend. Welcome back to my channel, She Loves, She Travels. You've had so many amazing questions. I keep talking more and more about ship life and you keep wanting to know more and more about it. So this week, I'm gonna list my top pros and cons of working on board. I wanna give a huge thanks to my friend Remy. He's originally from the Dominican Republic, but now lives in Pennsylvania. And I worked with him on board my first contract, and he recently sent out a video about the positives and negatives of working on board. So I decided I wanted to do my version of it as well. I'm gonna drop his name below in the comments, so make sure to go show him some love and support and subscribe to his channel as well. Also, I would like to mention that I have been YouTubing for about 6 weeks yet, and Red Bull has not yet sponsored me. So whoever's in charge of that, get on it. Let's start with the negatives first. Con number one, hands down, the worst thing about working aboard is the food. We don't really have a lot of options. Most days I end up just eating grilled chicken and like some rice and some pasta. The crew food is just not good. Every once in a while it's not bad, but even the better meals get really boring over time because it's quite repetitive. It's kind of more or less the same food for your entire contract. I think we were on like a weekly schedule on most of my ships. It gets so old. A lot of us can eat in the buffet, not all the time, and it also depends on like so many different factors. On our job, on the season, on what the current food and beverage manager wants, and whether he wants crew in the public areas or not. A lot of crew members take every opportunity they can to go outside and buy something outside of the restaurants, and we also bring a lot of things on board. If you guys were watching last week, I posted a little bit about our midnight mess, so as you can see, the quality of food is not so great on board the cruise ships. This sounds so stupid, but I love my gas station slushies and my pops and my Starbucks coffees and all those little things that you think are dumb, and I'm probably spending too much money on anyways because it is kind of dumb. It's like a little luxury that you completely forget about until you just don't have it anymore. Even at the bar, it's not like we can just order whatever we want. They have like 2 or 3 kinds of beers. We can't get any nice drafts or IPAs because it's a crew bar and we just have 2 or 3 different kinds of beers to choose from. Number 2, the second biggest con about working on board is communication. It's really difficult once you're on the ship to communicate back home. Just in general, unless you pay a lot extra for a phone plan that's international, it's hard to contact unless you go outside to a restaurant or a coffee shop and find Wi-Fi. We have to pay for Wi-Fi on my cruise line. I talk to my parents probably once a week, but I could go weeks without talking to them depending on the itinerary. My first time in the Mediterranean, I felt like I never got to contact home because even though I was available during certain times and I could call back home, they were sleeping because of the time difference. It's definitely really hard to keep up with anything social media or your family or friends or anything that you would consider part of your normal lifestyle once you're on the ship. It really feels like a different world. All your focus is kind of on your job and your family on board and your friends on board. Communicating back home is really difficult. Con number 3, you never really leave work. Even though you're off work, you're still living on the cruise ship, so you never really feel like you get away from it. Whereas back home, you can kind of just clock out at the end of the day and do whatever you want. On board, we're always kind of on duty. If we were to ever have an emergency, we'd have to be alert. Once we finish work, we can go to our cabin and go to the crew bar or the crew coffee shop or whatever it is, but we're still always on the ship. My cabin phone rings at like all hours of the day. In case they added an extra activity, in case somebody needs help, in case somebody needs a shift change, in case we forgot to decorate for an event, whatever it is, my cabin phone is like always ringing. And then it's not like you can just go crazy because we still have to wear our name badges during crew areas. We still have all these protocols that we have to follow. We can't drink too much. And sometimes you feel like you're just never away from work. Even when we go outside of the ship, which we do, we get to go off board a lot, at least in my department, there's always a time that we have to be back. So time is like always of the essence. There's always a crew all on board, or we have to be back for work, or we have to be up early the next morning. Whatever it is, it never feels like you're completely away from the work, away from the job, and it really does become your lifestyle. Con number 4, the cabins are so small. I've worked on some ships that have bigger cabins, and even my first contract, the cabin had 2 separate beds. But most of the ships I've worked on have bunk beds, and they're really tight, small quarters. There's not a lot of room for clothes. There's not a lot of room to change, especially if you and your roommate have to get ready at the same time. We always have roommates. So if you're not used to a roommate, that's something you have to adjust to as well. The only people that don't have roommates are like higher ups, like officers. The bathrooms are ridiculously small. My second contract, my roommate and I didn't even keep a shower curtain on the shower at all, and we just closed the bathroom door and we'd use the entire bathroom and just like wipe it down after our showers just because they're so small. Most of the time it's okay, but sometimes it is difficult if you and your roommate have to get ready at the same exact time. And especially for entertainers, we have a lot of different clothes and gala dresses and costumes and all these things that we need to pack, so sometimes it's hard to fit it all in. Con number 5. This is one of the hardest things for me because I get attached to people really, really easily. I want anyone that's coming into my life to stay in my life forever, and I want to become their friend forever, and I want to always be talking to them and communicating with them. But on the ships, at a certain point, you have to learn that that's just not feasible. You get really, really, really close to people, but the problem is everyone's from all over the world. One contract, my best friend might be from South Africa or from Venezuela or from France or wherever they're from. Even though you do love them and you'll try to keep in touch with social media, at the end of the day, you never know if you're gonna see them again. Sometimes that's a really, really hard truth to stomach. And some people are just different with their phones. I'm so bad with my phone. I'm on mine all day long. I keep pretty well up, I feel like, with my messages and my social media, but not everybody is like me. So that means some people that you were really close with, it just fades over time. The heartbreak never gets easier. You feel like you have all these amazing friends and memories, but then when you get home, you feel all alone because all your friends and memories are in different parts of the world. That's definitely a really, really hard part about working on a ship. Now for the fun part, the reason I put up with the horrible cabins and the awful food and 7 months away from my family, the best parts about my job. Number 1, obviously travel. I've been working on board for about 2.5 years now, and in those 2.5 years, I've done the Mediterranean season twice, I've done Northern Europe, I've done the Caribbean, I've done Cuban season, I hope to soon do South African season. I've gotten to see so many cool places, and places that I would have never even necessarily considered going. Yes, you don't get to see a lot of them. We do see a lot of ports. We docked in Civitavecchia, which is the port of Rome, for like 3 or 4 months, and in that time, I only went to Rome once. Sometimes it's hard to get off and further out into the cities, and you do only see a little bit in comparison to traveling the whole country, but I get a really good idea of where I would plan a future trip. I loved Reykjavik, I loved Palma de Mallorca. I would love to go back and see more of Spain and more of Iceland and more of these other countries, but frankly, without this job, I wouldn't have seen even the tiny bits I had at all. Also, the ships just offer such amazing itineraries. I've seen pictures of the fjords of Norway, but I never really thought like, yes, I'm gonna go visit that. And then when we went to go visit that, it was just an amazing chance. New York City is only like 8 or 9 hours from where I live by car, and my first time ever seeing New York City was on the ship. So even places that are close to home, I've gotten to see a little bit more of. 2, working on the ships really pushes you out of your comfort zone, especially if you work on a cruise line like me that's very intercultural. We have so many different cultures and languages and people. Everything is different than home. When I first started, I just wanted to learn languages and travel a bit, and I had no idea how far it would push me. It's pushed me to know more about myself because I've had to. It's pushed me to learn more about the world, and it's given me a better appreciation of all kinds of things that I thought I had better ideas of already. All my friends are from all over the world, and I've learned so many perspectives, and I've always said, yes, I want to learn Spanish, yes, I want to learn these languages, but it wasn't until I had a microphone and I was blubbering who knows what that I really forced myself to learn because I was finally out of my comfort zone. It's not the most money I've made. I made a lot of money when I was bartending and when I was serving, so it's not like it's the best paying job I've ever had, but I'm not paying for food, and I'm also not paying for rent. I'm not paying for utilities or water. I'm not paying for any of those things. They're covered in my contract. So other than my phone plan, my Wi-Fi, my drinks, or if I like want to treat myself outside of the ship, my paycheck is straight pocket money. I've used like 80% of my paycheck every single month to pay off my student loans, and I would have never had that opportunity before. At the end of the day, if you run out of money, it still sucks. Obviously, you can't go out with your friends, you can't do anything, but I'm still gonna be able to eat, and I still have a place to sleep. So that is nice that the money is more pocket money, whereas like a paycheck back home would go out to more bills. Pro number 4, you never get bored. Every single day is a party. For us, yes, it's our life, but obviously for our passengers, it's their vacation. So every single day is really high energy. Every single night we have a different theme, we have a party, we have all these celebrations. I would think that the crew is like a lot more chill, but they're not. Crew is crazy because at the end of the day, like I said, we don't have a home to go to. So we party, we enjoy our times, we live large, we go out and we explore, we spend our money, we buy drinks in the islands, we live. Whereas back home you would have that responsibility, you would have that house to go take care of, or that yard to mow, or your family to spend time with, or all those other things. We're detached from all of that. So when we're not working, we're enjoying. It's so hard for me to be at home for such a long time because I've been on the move for so long, and every single day was something new, was something different. Living on the ship is never boring. I haven't partied for the 3.5 months I've been home. I haven't really talked to new people. I haven't seen new places. So it's definitely a weird adjustment coming back to what I would call as normal civilization. And my fifth pro, the people. Obviously for me, the best part about working on board is the people. I would have no idea that at age 24, my best friends would live all over the world, and I've learned so much, and even like our guests and our passengers are always so amazing, and I'm already an extroverted person as is. I really feel like the ships have made me a better version of me. It's forced me to grow and learn and do all these other amazing things. Of course, I can't work on the ships and party on the ships forever, but for now, I've made memories of a lifetime. The people on board are the best people I've ever met in my life, hands down. Hands down, the most culturally diverse, beautiful, loving group of people. Again, we don't have our families on board. So the people we meet on board turn into our families. We take care of each other, we cry with each other, we love each other, and it is so heartbreaking leaving. Like, you should see the crew bar on somebody's last night of their contract. People are crying, people are hugging. It's really hard to say goodbye. And you think it gets easier contract by contract, but it really doesn't. Oh my gosh, guys, I wish you would have seen the ship when we all had to leave because of COVID, when the captain made the announcement in the theater. And it wasn't just one of us that was on our last night, it was the whole ship that was leaving. And people were a mess. People were crying, they didn't know what to do. It's like also like the unemployment job thing. But I don't know how to explain it. But the people on board are the best people I've ever met in my life. I do enjoy my job, I do love what I do, but if it weren't for the people on board, I wouldn't keep coming back. I know that I can't do ships forever, and it's already heartbreaking knowing that at some point I'm not going to be able to come back and I'm not going to be able to see those people again or in the same manner, because you know, life moves on. But yeah, the people they've changed me, and I miss them so much every single day. Those are my top 5 pros and cons about working on board. I hope that if you're considering working on board, this will kind of more explain and give you a better idea of what to expect. If you have worked on board before, what are your favorite things? What are your least favorite things? Comment them below. I would love to hear your perspective. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I know that soon we're gonna be back. I just know it. These vlogs are gonna look quite different, and I'm really, really excited to show you guys what it's actually like living on board. As I always say, leave your comments and questions below. I love to answer them. Follow me on Instagram. I talk all about travel and my life there. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. If not, and you still think that I'm cool, you can still subscribe. That's all I have for this week, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. Ciao for now.